Total nerd alert coming. You have been informed. In the movie Training Day, in the last 10-15 minutes, Denzel Washington states, King Kong ain't got crud on me. So then a nerd asks, okay, Mr. Washington, which one? King Kong, 1933. The Son of Kong, King Kong and Godzilla vs. King Kong, 1960s. King Kong Escapes, the 1970 remake with Jeff Bridges, 2005 one, or the Kaiju verse. Which one? Doesn't matter. Freaking Training Day. Freaking great movie. Rookie cop. Jake Coyne wants to stop crooks, not become one. But staying on the right side of the lane that separates cop from criminal will be more challenging than anything he's faced. Because Hoyt's senior partner for the next 24 hours is Alonzo Harris, an undercover narc meaner than any of LA's mean streets. And a powerful departure from his frequent good guy roles, Denzel Washington plays the horns. Plays Harris, the twisted but charismatic detective who both attracts and repels as he becomes the kind of thug he's supposed to call it. Ethan Hawke plays unseasoned recruit Hoyt, and Antoine Fuqua of the Replacement Killers Bait directs, guiding a cast that includes music stars Dr. Dre, Macy Gray, and Snoop Dogg. Training Day. It's a day of reckoning. When I first heard of Training Day, I thought it'd do with football. Training Day, training camp, football, or gridiron gang. No. And all I could say is, well, I'm pretty much going to state what Peter Travers says: knockout action entertainment. Denzel Washington is a sparking, snapping live wire. Oh yes, I have been blessed to see two of Denzel's performances. The first and other one in Man of Fire, which shows off his more tender side. Here he's just explosive and all out. He's alone. This movie is so dang good. It's the movie that you go to experience on the big screen or screen at your home, where you're there for the ride. You're also there just to see the charisma. You're there to see the interplay of these two when they're discussing like what the mean streets of LA are versus just being an everyday cop who just performs a traffic stop or goes after bad checks. Obviously, there are some legendary scenes that stand out in this film. Let's see. For me, the ones that I like the most was in the beginning, like riding along saying, hey, in order for you to understand what it's like to be a narcotics officer, you have to inhale this PCP. You have to perform a French kiss, which is just a deep inhale. And then we get to see some very interesting scenes of how our hero views the world now. Everything appears to have like a greenish tint, a little bit more green and yellow tint as it messes with the brain and how he perceives the world. Absolutely intense stuff going on right there, and I'm like, jeez, But yeah, it's like the use of filters to highlight the effect that the drugs can have. It's like, okay, well, let's also see what happens when a man gets too much power and he starts holding neighborhoods under his jurisdiction, really abusing his power. I mean, I'm just looking at Denzel and how he just has such a freaking sinister side to him. The character has a sinister side. I'm sure Denzel's really a nice guy in real life. So I'm just thinking, like, dang. And of course, Ethan Hawke, he's got this kind of like, I don't want to say, naivety about him. He hasn't been introduced to the other side of the tracks, I guess you could say. But when he does, he pulls it off, and it's just absolutely intense. He's getting used to stuff. He stops a juvenile from getting assaulted, which does come into play later. So it's like, yeah, he's starting to earn his stripes, I guess you could say. But of course we have they're actually really good foils for each other. Somehow it just works. I don't know. there's just the scene of like when they're going through this this one supplier's apartment named Sandman, and just going around is like, hey, it's like he is like watch Denzel's in the back looking for something, trying to get some cash, and Jake's still trying to just balance everything. So it's like this movie is about the light and the dark, and what happens when you get too much into the dark. I guess you could say like when, pardon the phrase, when you get too much of the juice, if you will. So that's how I interpreted it. But it's just yeah. But we eventually get to see Hoyt become more intense, but also learning how to deal with everything when he just realizes how much of a freaking bastard that Alonzo is. You know, it's like Alonzo works with some corrupt people where they're supposedly trying to maintain the peace, and they do, but at the same time they don't. So, whew. And of course, at the ending, it's like in a scene where they're in someone else's house and saying like, "Hey, yeah, Alonzo left you here to pretty much just get eliminated." You know, they're about to, and everything else, like being like with the cards and the beer and everything is like of true false sense of security. And then the scene that just escalates right up towards it, where Hoyt is being held in a bathtub. Had it not been for the ID of the girl from earlier, it turns out that these are the cousins that she mentioned. Somehow is like saying, "Hey," it's like, "Hey, Laz," or whatever her name was. Who's the person that saved you? It was a young white cop with a goatee. They look at him like, you were telling the truth, Vato," which is Spanish for fellow man. Yeah, you know, we get some interesting camera angles where we get to see like Hoyt talking to someone, and then we get Alonzo in the background, so we get to see some like true auteur film styles going on here. It's not like just jump cut, jump cut, jump cut. It's like that the action gets performed, and this movie feels cohesive, which I like. It wasn't like spliced together out of random parts. It was truly meant to feel like it was 2 hours and 2 minutes long. That's what it feels like, a 2 hour and 2 minute movie that doesn't have any bad pacing. It feels like a cohesive story. You know, of course, this is based on true events. You can just find anywhere online, which I'm really not going to go into as I record this at 12:20 in the morning. And I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see that. What else I like? The soundtrack was good as I was surprised to see. What struck me as interesting, I can't believe I'm saying this, like in order to get $4 million, you know, they do a little investigating, and then Alonzo here's like a hollow, like a little floor tile that's hollow, so they get a freaking chainsaw, open the tile up, like dismantle the tile, dig, find the treasure contained $4 million. A freaking chainsaw. That was unexpected. But yeah, I mean, it's just just absolute great. Just the corruption that's going on, that's being exhibited, and just how I feel like, hey, yeah, this movie was dang good. Like I said, Snoop Dogg is in this. He's playing a wheelchair-bound person named Blue, and I'm like, okay, is he hiding any crack cocaine? You know, they search him. Nope. So what does you do? Alonzo asks Jake for a pen. How's this? Coughs up 6 grams of crack, while also saying like, hey, these bullets, like each of these bullets are 10 years in the federal penitentiary, and there's like, oop, there's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And I'm like, what? It's like it was so fantastically cast and directed. Just all the while you get to see Calvin Brodus Jr. sitting in a wheelchair. What a scene, truly. And Dr. Dre was in this as well, portraying a cop named Paul. And I'm like, what is this? A Death Row Records semi-reunion? So, yeah. Do I would I watch this movie again? Oh, you better believe I would watch this movie again, especially when I want to see Denzel and a freaking phenomenal performance that his son looked at the script and said, "Hey, Dad, I know you're reluctant to portray this character, but I really think you should." And lo and behold, he did, and now he follows. Now every time his son suggests something, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to portray this character. Thank you, son." But so yeah, yeah, definitely Training Day. For some people, I don't know. Some people say the ending may come a little weird or abruptly or whatever. But I'm like, I can kind of see that a little bit. But I'm just like, yeah, you know what? This is you're here to see Denzel Washington. You're here to see the realism and everything else. So yeah, just don't listen to what the critics say. Just go and watch. Just go and listen. Just go and Google the scene of King Kong Ain't Got Nothing at Me, and then go and watch Training Day.